It's raining heavily in certain Indian states. In Kerala, heavy rainfall triggered widespread landslips, flash floods, and severe waterlogging across the central region, leaving at least 3 people dead. The fatalities were reported from Idukki and Kottayam districts. Several people remain trapped under debris in landslip-hit areas. Minichal River has overflowed their banks, inundating major roads and several low-lying areas in Rani, Manimala, Iratpeta, and Pala. In Assam, floods continue to affect 5 districts in Assam, with 1,92,799 people still hit by the situation and 2 more deaths, taking this year's toll to 80. The worst affected districts were Shivsagar, Golaghat, Jorghat, Nagaon, Charadio. Through the overall situation improved when more than 2 lakh people in 8 districts were affected. Now, the state government has announced a series of relief measures for the worst hit districts. Meanwhile, in Gujarat, it remains one of the worst affected states with India with regard to the meteorological department issuing a red alert for extremely heavy rainfall in several districts. Several regions are expected to receive rainfall exceeding 204.5 mm, raising fears of flash floods and waterlogging as well as overflowing rivers. Now, in response to this deteriorating situation, the state government has declared a high alert in at least 13 districts. Now, to discuss more on this, we have Raghu Muthugude, who is a climate expert. Raghu, there is an El Nino, and the rain pattern is very weird, as if it could be described in that way in a layman's term. Probably the question that I would ask you is, how wild is India's rainfall right now? Because a lot of experts are saying that it should have been dry because of the El Nino, but then they say there is a different kind of a weather system in the Indian Ocean, and there is rain picking up after a dry spell, and probably the El Nino, the monster El Nino, is going to pick up strength between August to October. How is this rain pattern going to be? Is it going to be this erratic?
It's been erratic in the sense we onset happened nearly on time over Kerala, and then it got stuck. Mumbai received onset almost 10 days late, and then Delhi got almost on time. So it's been sputtering along, which is very unusual. But the global warming in the background has been working all the time. If you look at pre-monsoon, the heat waves, that was directly related to the wind shifts over the Arabian Sea, which is related to the rapid warming over the Middle East and Europe. Europe is getting heat waves because of all those warmings. And El Nino put something on top, and that's what created these dry spells in June. June almost got, massive deficits, and July picked up. As the monsoon heating arrives, it can begin to control its fate by itself to a little extent, but then El Nino keeps on pulling it back. So we are having this kind of a push and pull from global warming, from El Nino, and monsoon's own crazy mind, the vagaries of monsoon, as we say. And we have to be careful that, monsoon heating and Indian Ocean, they all work together. Who's causing what is not always clear, because monsoon is a massive heat source. So we have to keep in mind that it can do many things on its own.
When the monsoons, when we speak about the low pressure forming out in the Indian belt, in the Indian mainland, and then the rain clouds being brought from the southern oceans, especially the Indian oceans, and towards making that turn through the equator and making its way to Kerala and then towards the rest of the country. That is what we understand about the climate dynamics. But then you talk about Western disturbances happening. Recently, they were talking about how the weather system across China and Korea was affecting the monsoons. Are experts now coming to say that monsoon is more complicated and you just can't pinpoint one factor could in fact play a role completely when you try to understand how the monsoon covers the country?
It's tricky because even if there is no El Nino and no global warming,
Mm-hmm.
monsoon is different from year to year
Okay.
in the sense of how it evolves over space and time. Average seasonal monsoon remains within our plus minus 10%. So we have been lucky in that sense. But when it begins to be affected by El Nino and global warming together, remember that El Nino is itself a mini global warming because the ocean is accumulating heat during normal years and La Nina years, and then it belches it out during El Nino. So it adds to the global warming. So global warming is modulating El Nino related impacts, and El Nino is modulating global warming impacts. So the real challenge is to predict the evolution of monsoon in space and time. And we have to remember the seasonal outlooks basically said will be somewhere around 8% deficit. And then the predictions from 1 to 10 days and weeks 2 to 4, those are the ones that can save the day in terms of managing agriculture, water, transportation, energy, even health, and so on.
So when we talk about the climate change that everybody is talking about, should we be worried? Because once a while you understand there could be erratic climate, that could be once in a while kind of phenomenons happening across our oceans or our land surface areas, but this seems to be becoming quite frequent. Is it changing to the point where we are seeing some of these freak weathers becoming permanent?
I mean, we have to remember there are global drivers like the Middle East warming, European warming, I mentioned, and Pacific El Nino. So there are natural modes of global drivers and global warming related global drivers. And we have local amplifiers like deforestation, agriculture, urbanization, etc. So we have to manage our local amplifiers carefully, and all the bets have to be on improving our prediction systems. India has invested massively over 1,000 crores since 2009 in computers and people and models, and we are getting better at the early warnings. So yes, some of these things are shifting, and there is no indication that they will return anytime soon to what we think of as normal, because greenhouse gases are causing these warmings in our neighborhood. We always talk about global warming, but it's the warming patterns that matter a lot for the Indian monsoon. And we have to watch for the patterns, and the patterns are really setting in our neighborhood, and they can create some patterns that are going to be, for example, from northern Maharashtra into Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, even Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal. We are getting excessive rains for last 10 years. Pakistan has been flooding every year extensively. These are kind of permanent shifts. There is some greening happening over Rajasthan, which is typically a dry region. These could be permanent shifts, at least for a while.
Oh, okay. That is, in fact, what you're suggesting is that probably there's been so much of changes happening and probably gradually happening, or is it happening quite fast than what the existing climate data can predict?
There are chronic changes which are happening slowly. So the shift towards northwest, even heat waves are getting worse in the northwest. Those are slow, but then you get these acute stressors. So when El Nino comes or a monsoon itself decides to act up, then you are going to get extreme events on top. So you are going to get changes in duration, intensity, frequency, and scales of extreme rainfall and heat waves. So you are making a slow change in the background, and then you are hammering with acute changes over weather time scales. So both are happening together.
Well, thank you, Raghu Murthukude, for in fact giving us the way we can in fact take a look at the entire monsoon and the changes that it is bringing in as of now, as we can see how it is playing out in 3 states as of now, in Assam, in Kerala, as well as in Gujarat, where heavy rains have inundated roads and also created landslides and also loss of human life. Well, thank you, Raghu Murthukude, for in fact giving us an expert view on the subject as well.